Welcome to this episode of the Zaini Show. Today I am going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and that is on dramaturgy. All right, first question. What is dramaturgy? So we can go with the Aristotelian definition of dramaturgy, which is a codified structure of playmaking. All right. But then later on, the father of modern playwright, or modern dramaturgy, playwright Gotthold Ephraim Lessing, on his seminal work during the Hamburg National Theatre Festival between 1767 to 1770, he calls dramaturgy as dramatic composition and representation of the main elements of drama on stage. So that means, looking at which scene comes on, what characters come on, what kind of characters goes on, the kind of costume that happens. If you were to program a show, what do you need for the show? Can some of the things be taken out? Can some other things be brought in? So, it's a dramatic composition and representation of the main elements that is to be on stage, and the main elements come back to the Aristotelian way of the basic principles of poetics. And then we have just gotta double check. Aristotle poetics include plot, character, thought, diction, song, and spectacle. So plot refers to the order of events, character, the persons in it. Thought would be the themes and ideas that are being mentioned. Diction would be the word choices. A song, the tragedies would have music and song to create mood and effect. And spectacle, which is the visual element of the work. And later in 1863, Gustav Freytag, in his book, The Technique of the Drama, mentions, similar things. And it's the English publication was in 1894. And this has become a blueprint for screenwriting manuals. Now, I know that not every school, every screenwriting school use this, but it just talk about same thing about the elements of drama and how do you write drama. And these are one more, and Yves Lavandière, La Dramaturgie, that was published in 1994. There have been 5 other revisions since 2014. Again, it's another seminal work for the playwright to ask what necessary questions to create the play, the world of the play. Now these are kind of modern definition. Sorry, I'm just gonna put in one more. So this company, Beehive Dramaturgy Studio, not a shout out, but putting it there. They define dramaturgy as an exploration of the world of the play, both the text itself and how the text engages with the world in which we live. And text here refers to whatever mode of storytelling that's being used, whether it's through language or movement. Now these are sort of the Western ideas of dramaturgy and storytelling and performance making and dramatism. There is also a non-Western work, and the probable earliest one in Sanskrit. It's called Natya Shastra, or the art of theatre, and it's created over 1,000 years, from 500 BC to 500 AD. So to kind of quickly summarize up, dramaturgy is a tool that is used by performance makers, theatre makers, dance makers, performance art makers, maybe even curators, of creating a world of the play and how that makes sense in the world of the play and for people watching it. Okay, second question, what does a dramaturg do? Now, essentially, a dramaturg supports the development of the play or the work by asking important questions, by researching necessary elements, by providing context to the audience of it. And the role is is actually defined on project to project basis. So freelance dramaturgs, when we are hired, we would normally ask, we will ask the artist, what do you want to achieve? Why am I here? Because that gives us a very good idea and foundation of how we can do our job in this particular work that we've been hired to do. But there are also, a higher role such as institutional dramaturg or production dramaturg, which are in-house dramaturg, and they have a bigger role because they would help plan the season. They would also sometimes be involved in casting. Certain actors would represent certain politics, and it would be great to be in this, to represent the issues in the play. All right, third question. Can I be a dramaturg? Oh, absolutely, of course. If you have a keen eye to help artists, be it playwrights, directors, designers, if you have a keen eye to help them bring their work alive, bring it to life, why not? Why not be a dramaturg? But we have to be aware that we have to be sensitive to what the artist wants to create. We cannot impose our views and expect it to be done. Okay, if we watch the rehearsal, we don't like, we say, I don't like this, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, maybe, I think this would be better. No, we cannot do that as dramaturgs. We see the work, we have to recognize for what it is, and then ask the right questions, like, were you trying to, get a certain feel and mood? If you are, have you thought about this and that? Or have you tried about this and that? They may answer and say, yeah, we have done it, it's just not working. And then at least because that's the thing, you see, when we are as a dramaturg, when we come into the work, we don't know where the work is at, and when we are meeting the artist to work with, if it's a playwright that's writing a new play, the artist would have ideas before. It's just not being put on paper. Sometimes the playwright would have a script that's already done, then it becomes easier to look at. If we work with device directors, directors who like to make device work, they have an idea, they have concepts, and they want to try it out, but we don't know what those concepts and those ideas are unless we ask. So sometimes, as obvious it may seem, I would say ask the obvious questions. At least and at least you as a dramaturg know where the work is at before you approach, before you give your feedback, before you do the necessary research, before you help with providing context for the audience. Because the thing is, we sit on a very fine line, this liminal space that we are in, this liminal space of where we are involved in the creation of the process, in the creation process, but we are also outside of it. So any suggestions that we make, that we give, may not be taken in, and we have to be okay with that, because we have to know for sure that I have a stake in this, but I don't have a huge stake in the final say of it. Yes, unless you are an institutional dramaturg, even then you would have to run by the producers, the board of directors, and if there's certain ideas that you have, certain themes that you have, but your directors and your actors make certain choices either within that main idea that you have or kind of challenged it a little bit, it's still okay to just go, right, yes, I think that it's a good idea, maybe, or if it's gone too far off, then we can have that conversation. I'm talking about institutional dramaturgs. Then we can probably have the conversation of like, okay, so this is what we have decided on. This is what I see. Is there something that you're trying to challenge or bring forward? So that we don't get too far off from what we have promised the audience for the play or the season. Conversations have to happen. And being a dramaturg, you don't always have to be in the room all the time. There are times where I would come in the beginning of the read, and then I would come in the middle of the rehearsal process, and then it's sort of radio silence. I would get updates from the stage manager. I would ask the artist, what's going on. I would read reports, but I'm not in the room. And then when I come in, it's probably final dress, like full dress rehearsal before opening in 2 days' time. I don't know what happens in between. I cannot just impose a change. I need to know where they're at. So I need to meet the work where it's at, and then ask the key questions. You have to think creatively, but you also have to be sensitive to the work itself, because it is an intimate process for the artist. We have to be very careful and aware that we are coming into a sensitive space of creation for the artist. So we can't freely barrage our opinions. So yeah, to kind of come back to it, absolutely you can be a dramaturg, but there's certain things that you have to be aware of. Any frameworks, next question, any frameworks to follow? Yes. I think playwriting books are good. Books written by directors about the process, books written by actors also sharing the process would be helpful, but there is no one size fit all to do it, because like I said, it's a personal space, it's an intimate space that we're coming in, and the artist that's creating the work has a particular view and particular politics that they want to bring out, and certain style of working. So sometimes you may have all that knowledge back there. Can you tease out from what it is and bring out only the relevant bits, or sometimes you just have to work with what's in front of you? That's just how it is. Because again, we have to remember, we have to come back to prioritizing what the lead artist wants to achieve. We have to, and what they want to bring to life. And when we are doing that, like I said, we then have to follow our instincts when we ask the key questions, when we want to do the necessary research. So yes. Do you need a dramaturg? Well, personally, I would say yes. Every company would need a dramaturg. If not, you will need dramaturgical skills of how to make the play come alive, how to let it happen. We do absolutely need dramaturgical skills. It would be great to have a dramaturg in the room, because I feel like a dramaturg is someone who helps with the check and balances in the creation process of it. So as dramaturgs, we would take down notes of what we see, what we observe, and we would give the feedback and our thoughts and opinions of it. And of course, as a lead artist, you can take it on or not. You can ask more questions. But chances are, as dramaturgs, we are asking the very questions that you are asking, but you forgot, because you have so many things in your mind that you forgot to either record it, or you thought about it and you forgot, or you're like, oh, I want this, and it's gonna come back. But then now you have somebody to kind of help you keep a record on to also then ask certain questions. So depending on your level of experience, whether you're new or midway or even very experienced, having a dramaturg in a room would be useful. Now, if you want to try working with the dramaturg, I'm available for hire. So you can email me at theruzainishow@gmail.com. theruzainishow@gmail.com. That's THERUZAINISHOW@gmail.com. And then we can set up a meeting or a chat. All right, that's it. Thank you very much for today's episode. I'm excited for dramaturgy. It is something that I personally invest in, and it is something that I would like more people to know about. Whether you're a lay audience or an artist in the making or a fellow dramaturg itself, it would be nice to have conversations to help promote dramaturgy as a field. So thank you very much for listening to today's episode, pardon me, and hope to see you or listen to the next episode. Ciao, ciao.